Give this producer a raise, promotion, something. Hire him in the FBI. He deserves more. He did the Lord's work here. I was so appreciative of this man and what he contributed to these last 5 minutes because he cried like no other prior in the world. Now it is time for a special part of today's show brought to you by Heineken Silver. New, crisp, and refreshing. Heineken Silver has only 3.2 carbs and 95 calories and a taste with no bitter endings. And we know something about bitter endings. So let's talk about some bitter endings right now. For me, the bitterest of endings was, of course, the last 5 minutes of this episode. It was bitter because, for me, I wish it was discussed on stage. However, I am grateful that it was discussed at all. After Raquel leaves, after they take a really awkward staged photo, we get a black screen with white text that says 6 days later. 6 days later, Raquel sat down for her final interview of the season. Jodi, just before we even get into what was said, what was not said?
That she chose to wear that dress for the final interview of the season where she is about to unleash holy hell with these revelations. And that was the wardrobe choice. I just couldn't believe it. It's not the first time we've seen it, which is actually an incredibly important point because you think about the other things that she has said in that somehow both sternum and shoulder-bearing sweater dress. And it really makes you think about her emotional state of mind when she's making these revelations, given how much giggling we've seen her do in that dress.
Yeah. So this whole thing I was curious about because we did see in the finale episode her in this confessional look, which I think we also saw her in the same confessional look earlier in the season. So I was confused as to when she taped her final Scandival, post-Scandival confessional. Because the timing seemed weird to me. But now we get answers. It was 6 days later. She wore the same, if not similar dress that she had worn previously in the season. And she starts, and also before, give this producer a raise, promotion, something. Hire him in the FBI. He deserves more. He did the Lord's work here. I was so appreciative of this man and what he contributed to these last 5 minutes because he cried like no other prior in the world.
I was like, yeah, emotionally manipulate her ass. Like, you got this. You're definitely going to get her to say exactly what you need her to say because you're smarter than her. It was really like a masterful look at reality TV production. And, they're just asking questions and these people are just answering them.
It was a masterclass in television production. Take notes, college students. So she first starts with, I think it's important to me to tell the truth. I've been lying and so deceitful this entire time, and I don't want to lie anymore. I'm finding myself having to lie about certain timeline things, to which the producer clarifies, so you lied at the reunion about things. And she says that, she maintained these lies at the reunion because Tom felt like it would be less hurtful. Correction, Tom felt it would make him look better for some stupid reason. She says that it became a regular thing while they were still filming. So, contradicts the lie that this was a one-time thing prior to Mexico. She clarifies that the second time that they had sex was the first night in Mexico, where she shares a really weird and interesting story about Tom being drunk in the hallway and somehow tripping into her room and falling into her bed where they were physical, she says.
Yeah, and the thing about this truth-telling session is that it still involves a lot of lying. She just happens to be a terrible liar. Yeah. So every time she lies, or most every time, the producer is like, literally is like, it seems like you're lying. How would you like to maybe tell the truth instead? And then she's like, yeah, okay, I'll do it. It's like, it is a really weird interaction.
Very weird. Very weird. She goes on to let us know and admits that they had sex multiple times in Mexico. Multiple times in Mexico. So she slept with Tom multiple times and kissed other Tom twice in Mexico. Disgusting. All the while standing in Sheena's wedding, all the while standing next to Ariana. I think she sat next to Ariana during Sheena's wedding. Disgusting. She claims that it was regular and ongoing as of Mexico. So Tom and her stance that it only happened once, so therefore it wasn't as bad throughout 6 days previously when they were talking about this on the reunion stage was complete bullshit and horseshit. And it happened multiple times since Mexico, since before Mexico, or while in Mexico, whatever. And it gets worse and more insane. Because she says she felt really guilty, Jodi. She felt really guilty about all this. And she really, really badly wanted to share this with Ariana. But she had this great idea that she suggested to Tom. Why don't we be in a relationship, you, me, and Ariana? I love Ariana as a person. I love you. We could be a throuple. The way in which I did not understand how her mind got there. What, like a throuple? Like you thought that?
Her mind said 1 + 1 + 1 is 3. And it took her a little while to do that math. She got out those glitter pens again. She got out the notebook and she said, I have a master plan. I don't know. In some ways, I actually don't want to put this on her because I do assume that she got there through a lot of lying from Tom, which is like, the relationship is over. You know, she was probably like, hey, maybe I could actually help Ariana here. Maybe I could revive this relationship with the present of my presence. Like, maybe this could be great. But it is, it's, you know, I know that some people were disappointed in the way that these last 5 minutes were hyped. Like, you know, there was a period of time where everyone was like, Raquel is absolutely pregnant. There was a period of time where we thought it was going to be revealed, which this is probably true, but that they had been sleeping together since before she even broke up with James. Like, there was a lot mounted on this that did not ultimately come true. But I have to say that, like, the way that these last 5 minutes unrolls, the things we hear come out of Raquel's mouth, I never could have assumed that she was going to say, yeah, I actually proposed that we become a throuple. I couldn't. I had guessed all the things and I hadn't guessed that.
I hadn't guessed throuple. And you know what? Yeah, I'm not disappointed with these last 5 minutes. Did I assume all of this? Yeah, I did. But I was captivated. This took my breath away. It really did. And she utters that Tom is going to kill her. And then the producer brings up the jacuzzi night. We get one final clip of Ken Todd rolling in saying Tom Sandoval and Raquel were in the jacuzzi. And then initially she denies the hooking up that night. And then she starts to have like this inner monologue with herself. She says, he asked me not to disclose all this information, especially now being so isolated. I feel like Tom is my only one person that I do have. And if I go and betray him, then I really have nobody. That's what he wants you to believe, by the way. He wants you to feel like and he did this to you on purpose. He isolated you so that you can only have him. That's the one story that we agreed on getting straight. She says, through tears. And I know that the reason Tom wanted to lie about it is because it's a really bad look to hook up with someone's boyfriend when they've gone out of town, especially for like a funeral of all things. I got chills when I watched it. I got chills when I said it. For a funeral of all things. So you're telling me that while Ariana was burying her grandmother, you guys were having a canoodle fest in her home, in her jacuzzi. I can't. I do not respect you. I do not like you. And I do not wish any good things for you, as Ariana said. This is disgusting.
She is about to get so haunted by Charlotte. So haunted. It's going to be a really bad dog haunting. I felt some amount of pride in Raquel for making that final jump on her own. I felt sure. And I actually watched it twice. And in my memory, this was how it happened. I felt sure that the producer was going to have to be like, while she was at her grandmother's funeral. But Raquel actually got there on her own. She remembered that on her own. Did it make any actual emotional impact, or was she simply putting the pieces together? I'm not sure. And, I actually do think I couldn't believe this was only 5 minutes because I went on a real emotional roller coaster
Oh,
because
yeah.
by the end there, it's a bit of a heartbreak. Like you said, like he wants her to feel isolated. And the fact that she thinks she's the only one who has no one else, Sandoval has no one else either. But that doesn't mean that she gets to dictate the truth that they tell, because if he loses her, then he has nothing, because he doesn't feel like that, but he's made her feel like that. And so
Mhm.
she thinks that she has to operate under his rules. He has all the control in this situation. And that is really devastating to hear, especially when we're putting those pieces together and she's not. However, at the beginning of this 5-minute segment with the producer, what I really thought was like, she is getting her rocks off telling these details. She is not doing this to tell the truth. She's not doing it because it pains her to be deceitful. She is kicking her heels up and talking on the phone with the only friend that she has, which is this producer. And like, I've certainly been in a situation where like I've had something happen in my life that I like can't stop talking about, but no one really cares about it as much as I do. But I'm like, oh, I want to talk about it. Like her listing off these little details is very exciting for her. She's
Yeah.
reliving this thing that was really exciting to her. And that's tough to watch.
But see, what I need answered or what I need to know is what happened between the filming of the reunion and 6 days later. Like, what really inclined her to say it all, to mention it all, to get it all off of her chest? I appreciate it. But Tom, like, I'm sorry, something had to have happened between her and Tom where she felt like I can no longer trust him or something. Because there is no way, or
I got a
someone got in
theory.
her ear. Like, there has to be a reason as to why she changed, she flipped.
I think he just ditched her. Like, I
Yeah.
think he'd been telling her, we're in this together. We have this plan for the reunion. We're going to tell this story. It's going to make it better. Things are going to be okay. And then in the 6 days that followed that, he started on his little tour. He's going back to normal life. His normal life is, of course, performing poorly in a cover band with a jazz section that he hired with money he doesn't have. And he moves on with life, and she doesn't, because her life has become entirely wrapped up in him. And I mean, that would be giving her some credit that she put those pieces together in a matter of 6 days. But I do think that she maybe started to see, like, he's been telling me that if we lie, that will make things better. That will be good for our relationship. It'll be good for Ariana. And like over the course of this reunion, she realized that that was not true.
No. It was
Maybe.
bitter. It was bitter. It was a tough pill to swallow, but it was a ride. And thankfully with Heineken Silver, you get all the taste with no bitter endings. Only 3.2 carbs and 95 calories. That's new, crisp, and refreshing Heineken Silver. Order now at Heineken.com/silver. Must be 21 plus to purchase. Please enjoy Heineken responsibly.